So, of course, I'm going to be starting a new game. So, this opening screen does one of those things that... It does one of those things that most games do, where it's going to show me an out-of-context image that probably won't make sense until later on in the game. It's almost purely for... I mean, for visual effect, obviously, but I'm not learning anything. Okay, all I know about the game so far is that it's called Pillars of Eternity. So there's probably a pillar, some kind of eternal pillar, and that there are green rocks in a grotto-y kind of room. Looks like a dungeon of some kind. So, not really learning anything here. Let's see what else we got. Alright, so I gotta choose a game mode. I can choose easy, which allows me... Easily forgives mistakes in combat. Strongly recommended for new or returning to real-time party-based RPGs. They have normal difficulty. Forgives a few mistakes. Not recommended for newcomers. Okay. Hard, suited for Infinity Engine veterans. Now that's interesting. The game, and I've been wondering about this, like how much referring to Baldur's Gate it's going to do. And here's our first... This is actually a little surprising for me. Like, it's a direct, straight-up reference. It just says, hey, Infinity Engine. If you've played these games, this is the choice. Which is strange for me. Yeah, it's funny that they shout it out so directly. And then Path of the Damned. Enemies receive a bonus to stats. Can't be changed. It's intended only for players on the most punishing encounters. I'm not here to be punished. I'm an Infinity Engine veteran, but I'm not really looking for a challenge. I'm looking for a game I can just play through and talk about. So I'm going to go with normal. Now I can choose Expert Mode, which turns off helper features, which sounds like a second playthrough. So I'm gonna stick with Expert Mode off. And Trial of Iron, only one save is kept. If you die, that's it. Wow, that's heavy. Alright, so I think we'll play normal. Normal, I think, is going to be hard enough as it is. So, we'll go with normal mode, none of the fancy stuff. Griffin supports my choice. Did you know you can click directly on the area map to center the camera on that location?
5 wagons grope blindly for the path on a starless night, their master glancing ever upward to the skies for assurance that he is on the right course. A dim lantern, his own...
Could just turn off the voice for me? Alright. Oh no, I've taken ill. Falling into the trunk of a fallen tree. Okay, so we're doing the like caravan the caravan traveler thing as our opening, which is like fairly classic D&D stuff. Like you're traveling in a caravan and then something bad happens and you have to deal with it, which is okay, cool. That's an alright start. So, okay. So I'm gonna make my character. So character creation, if you've heard me talk about tabletop role-playing games, I think character creation is huge. It's a huge part of game design, and it more often than not is the very first place that players interact with your setting and with your game. So the game is going to try to impart information to me by way of this stuff over here, this flavor text, but it's also going to impart information to me based on my choices, because what a game tells you when it allows you to choose things about your character is these things exist in the world. Thanks for the subscription, King Rajesh. Happy to have you in the math squad. So what I'm told about the world from the get-go right away is, okay, let's see. So I have my character. I'm a bipedal humanoid. Because I'm choosing sex before race, it implies to me that sex in this game is a binary, or in this world is a binary condition. There are men and there are women. So ostensibly there's nothing else. Because even if I chose my sex first and then my race, it would switch me around, and I'd be able to decide. Like, say maybe some races have, 3 biological sexes, or 4 or 10, whatever. So regardless of what may or may not be true in the real world, there are 2 sexes, and I don't know if sex and gender are conflated in this. I think they probably are, because I don't see a gender selector. Okay, so I can be male or female. Now, men, the place of men in society varies from culture to culture. Okay, yep, that's true. Cultures like Adir and the Deerwood, a colonial nation founded by settlers in the Adir Empire. So Adir is the main empire. Deerwood is a settlement. Territory became independent in 2672 AI and is now ruled by a duke who is elected by 7 earls that oversee its earldoms. So, okay. So the game is teaching us about the map. So there's an empire. There's a split-off territory that became independent. The world is at least 2,672 years old. We don't know what AI is. So, that's a thing. So there's a measurement of reckoning, year-wise. It's ruled by a duke, elected by the earls, and it's split into earldoms. No, this is a thing. This is the first time that this game has done it, and I wonder what else it's going to do. It takes normal English words and cuts a letter, or respells it in a funny way, or throws an apostrophe in there. So, okay, it's ruled by a duke, which is if it's a duke. Just say duke. Or not. I mean, if the whole game is like that, that's fine. Ruled by 7 earls, spelled E-R-L-S. Okay, alright. Earls, duke, Darwood, Adir, I don't know. Reading fantasy words is impossible until you hear them in context. Place them at the forefront of military politics and heavy labor. Okay, so in these cultures, men are the boss. Among the tribes of Nastak, men perform many of the homesteading and organizational duties. That's interesting. Okay. In Ireglonfath, territory comprises the forest southeast of the Bale River. So, again, we're getting, loaded up by stuff. But this is the thing. None of this has context yet. So it's like... it's like giving a player a setting book for a role-playing game and being like, read all of this. It shouldn't necessarily be feeding us this information this way. But I also think that it's a role-playing game. They have a lot to say. So we'll see how much my character knows. Now, compare and contrast this. If you watch the beginning of me playing Fallout, Fallout gives you absolutely no information about the culture that you're playing in. So anyway, in Ireglonfath, a bunch of tribes known as the Glenfathans, ruled by a council of its 6 most powerful tribes. Ireglonfath is home to a large number of ruined Engwithan sites. Don't know who the Engwithan are, but they have ruins. And the Glenfathans hold them sacred. The ruins of it in the center. I assume that when I get to culture, I'll be able to pick Adir or Deerwood or Ireglonfath or Ixamitl. So far, Adir and Deerwood don't, to me, make me think of any, real, it doesn't make me think of any kind of, real, place, in Earth culture, but Ireglonfath definitely makes me think of, Welsh or Scottish, the kind of, Celtic, it's a very Celtic-sounding thing. And then, Ixamitl, gives me kind of a South American vibe, so... Men and women have fluid social roles in these countries. In all societies, there are exceptions to the rule, and men can be found in various stations of professions. Cool. A woman's role in Yora is largely dependent on where she's from. The Adir Empire, Valen Republics, this is a new one. Mercantile power, colony of a larger, more ancient nation, Old Valia. The republics lie to the south. Deerwood, ruled by a duke, elected by the Consuagli Esigia. Okay, so the Valian republics to me sound Venetian. Mercantile power, former colony of Old Valia, Rome, and also they obviously speak Italian there. So there's that. All right, so we've heard about the Direwood or Deerwood. Women occupy many domestic, educational, and organizational roles as the primary hunters, soldiers, and leaders of the tribes of Nastok, and Irglanfath, and Ixamiddle. So it's pretty much giving me the same information from the other side. Now, I was a dude in Fallout, so I'm going to be a lady in this game. No mechanical choice, right? That's evidenced here. So it's purely going to be what is the what's the impact socially, right? Is the game going to treat us differently depending on our sex? I suspect probably. Alright, so now I have options for races. Now, the races in the game, I really like, and we'll talk about this a little more when we get to culture. I love that they split this into biological race and into culture. I think that's really cool. I don't see duck on here anywhere, so I'm going to have to continue being a bipedal humanoid. Alright, so humans, commonly called folk, are the common races in the Direwood and the Aedir Empire, Old Valia, and the Valian Republics, though not as large as the towering Aumaua. It's a cool word. Humans are known for their strength and willpower, evidenced by their resolve and their might. So resolve looks like, yeah, willpower, mental intimidation, leadership, convincing performances. Helps maintain concentration, contributes to will and deflection bonuses. I'm not sure what deflection is, but... Okay. And then might, I think, is probably strength. Physical and spiritual strength. Brute force, as well as their ability to channel powerful magic. So magic users in this setting are tough, right? If they're good. So that's an interesting concept, too. So stats are teaching us about the world, too. You know, the stats tell us that if you have a high score in X or Y, right, then these things are true about you and true about everyone else who is like that. So the thing that's interesting about this is that a character's physical and spiritual strength match. That you can't be physically strong and spiritually weak, or vice versa. So interesting. So I get resolve and might for being a human. Now, it makes sense narratively to do sex, race, class, but to me, it makes more sense from a character perspective, and I'm going to have to come back to do race, to do class first, because I get a bonus to my stats, and if I don't know what class I'm going to be, there's no point in me picking what species I am. Now, I think that they call it race in fantasy games, because, like, the race of men, and, like, you know, it's all Tolkienisms. Species fits better, but species is a way more sci-fi word. So let's see what our races are. So we've got human, the Aumaua. Oh yeah, big tough lady. She's blue. Largest of the Kith races, commonly found in or near oceans. So like an aquatic, kind of like whale type of people, I guess. Naval mammals. Not truly aquatic. Okay, they have an affinity for water, and many of their civilizations, such as the Rawatai, are based on naval dominance. So this lends some of the credence to the fact that they might be sort of loosely based on like a Polynesian culture. The name kind of makes me think that. Based on naval dominance also. Polynesians had badass boats. Known for unparalleled strength, they get 2 might. Okay. So dwarves and elves, that's a thing. Virtue of land covered and number of colonies settled, dwarves are the most well-traveled race in the world. Strength and tenacity. Okay, so that's fairly common. Might, dexterity, minus, dexterity. So they have a total of +2 just like everybody else, but they get an extra +1 somewhere else. They look like they're going to be good warriors. Elves. Elves are elf. They... Dex and perception, okay. Dominant race in Irglanfath, and the white that wins. That's a cool name. The White That Wins. Sounds like a river. Elves are known for their speed and intelligence, as well as a commonly isolationist nature. So they're typical elves. Sort of Tolkien-esque. Okay. So the Orlan, smallest of the Kith races. I don't know what the Kith races are, but they include Aumaua and Orlan, I guess, at least. Many cultures don't consider them civilized at all. Two-tone skin, hirsute bodies. They're found in a bunch of places that we now are familiar with. Known for mental intensity and quickness, so resolve and perception. So good. They're halflings, basically. Hobbits. Minus the culture stuff. And then the godlike. So, like tieflings, basically. Children of the Kith, civilized races who have been blessed with the physical aspects associated with the gods, though some do not consider a blessing. No shit, you look like a clicker. The aspects take many form, come with mystical powers, aberrant head shapes, you can't wear helmets. Because of their unusual nature and inability to reproduce, they're often viewed with fear and wonder. So they have dex and intellect. Huh. Okay. Yeah, weird brain face. So the godlike, yeah, these are the, like, you want to be something kind of strange and weird, pick one of these. And I suspect that all of these will be affected by the, they'll affect the dialogue options in the game as well. All right, so I've learned what races exist in the game. I haven't really learned too much about their cultures, but I know kind of what stat bonuses they have. Now I'm just going to pick human for now, and I'm going to jump over to class. I think it's interesting that humans, a lot of the time the game presents humans as the baseline, because they are, because your experience with a race in a game is not what is this race like, but how is it different from humans? How is it different from me? And as I understand it, they have sub-races as well. So the baseline human gets 1 resolve and 1 might. It's interesting that they gave humans resolve and might, and not just you pick 2 yourself, because that's what a lot of games do with humans. Humans are the, like, they're really, like, capable of being flexible, and they can be whatever they want. Yeah, so here we go. So we get different humans from different places. Now, I'm not sure if this gives me different options for my appearance. I mean, it appears to, but I don't know if that's just changing some sliders for me. So, meadow folk, ocean folk, and savannah folk. Now, I'm not gonna look through all of these because I want to go and pick my class first. I'm gonna go pick class, come back, decide what race I want to be, then decide the sub race from there. So we'll just pick meadow folk for now. All right. So, classes. Now, I'll admit I already know what class I want to play, but I'll just take a look through the list. Now, everybody's going to be coming at this from a Dungeons & Dragons point of view, right? That's the baseline. That's what fantasy games do, right? You start with D&D and you say either, how are we like Dungeons & Dragons? How can we leverage that brand for ourselves? Or how can we make ourselves different from Dungeons & Dragons, right? So, if I am a human, my options are these classes. Now, I think that every class can be every race, but let's take a look. All right, so I can be a barbarian. It's just the most typical barbarian possible. I can be a cipher, which I have no idea what that is. I can be a fighter. I can be a paladin. I assume I know what all of these are. I can be a ranger. I can be a wizard, a rogue, a priest, a monk, a druid. So other than Cipher and Chanter, all this stuff sounds familiar to me, right? Like, Dungeons & Dragons has taught me what a barbarian, a druid, a monk, a priest, all that stuff are. Now, this is where it's dangerous when you make a game, because if you don't stick to those tropes, you have to make it clear for the people who don't read the text what that class does. So let's take a look at Cipher and Chanter, shall we? So, because I don't know what those are. So, Cipher, a recent discovery in the Eastern Reach. I don't know what that is, but whatever. Ciphers were once called this word. Brishalgwyn, mind hunters, mind takers. Name a character Mentok. Ciphers have the ability to directly contact and manipulate another person's soul and psyche using an ally's enemy's essence as the focus of their magic. So they're psionists, kind of. Most ciphers are found in the Eastern Reach. Practitioners of these techniques have spread throughout the world, gaining acceptance over time and generally distrusted, especially by the uneducated. Cool, I like that. They're like creepy, the brainers, basically, from Apocalypse World. Okay, so they get bonus to stealth, lore, and mechanics. Ah, so mechanics is like lockpicking, and I understand. Okay. So this is the first time that the game gives us an introduction to skills. Now, I don't know how many skills there are or what those skills are, but there's 3 of them for this class. Stealth, lore, mechanics. So, lockpicking, activating scrolls, and sneaking around. It does sound a little like I tried to play Grigori. I do like sneaky characters, though. And these guys have psychic powers, so that's kind of cool, too. So this is a bunch of stuff. I don't know what any of these numbers mean, but it's really cool that they're telling me, like, your endurance, which I assume is your hit points. Yeah, short-term survivability. Potions can restore it. If I go to 0, I'm knocked out. Otherwise, you gain all your endurance. Okay. All right. So I would have very low hit points, low endurance overall. What's the difference between health and endurance? Oh, long-term damage. Okay. All right. So I have endurance. It's very low. Not great health. Average accuracy. High deflection. And deflection is my defense. It's like a dodge and a block for attacks. Okay. All right. Cypher sounds kind of cool. And then Chanter. So, in every culture across Aora, there are Chanters. I wonder if this is short for enchanter or chanter like they sing. Hallowed phrases stirring up the collective memory of wayward souls. Oh, there's spell singers. Compelling them to generate magical effects. So people's souls generate the magic. That's something that's true for the Cypher too, right? You manipulate someone's soul and use their essence as a focus for magic. These guys sing, and the songs trigger other people's souls to generate magical effects. Organized groups. There's a kind of like bards, I guess, and they have phrases or chants. So this is like kind of like a wizard, I guess. They've got better hit points than the Cypher. Very high deflection. You know, I think I'm going to go with Cypher. I did some reading beforehand, and I think Cypher is going to be what I choose. But I do like the idea of Chanters too. And there are classes that I've played before in other games that I would be interested in trying. But I'm going to get NPCs, so I can always add to my party later. So I'm going to go back now because I know I need to know what my class needs. So I'm just going to pick one of these. Okay. Here we go. So I need to have quite high intellect, and then secondarily dex and might. Intellect, dex, and might. So I gotta go pick a race that'll help me with those. So humans give me a +1 to might. Amawa give me a +2 to might. Neither of those are great. Those are primary. Might, again, lots of strong races. Perception and dexterity. Perception and resolve, dexterity and intellect. So the godlike do get the bonuses. They get 2 of the bonuses that I need. So that's cool. I wasn't necessarily going to go with godlike. I mean, I usually play humans, but because I'm picking Cypher, godlike seems like the best bet for me. So let's take a look at what that might mean for my sub-races. Alright, so I'm going to be a godlike. I can be a death godlike. Most distrusted of their kind. No, shit, look at them. Death godlike are often... So they give me death godlike in the sense that, like, death as a setting... on certain difficulty settings, it's reduced to 0. You go down. So I like that the system has automatically tagged terms in the text for me. When we attack an enemy with 25% or less endurance, okay, so we're good at getting people who are almost dead to stay, force them towards dying. I could be a fire godlike. It's kind of more tiefling-y. Bodies of fire. Hot metal, burnt wood, and stone. I wonder if choosing a godlike is going to block me from any kind of like relationship type subquests, like romance subplots or anything. So we get damage reduction and a thorns effect. Whoa, moon godlike, that's cool. Most tolerated, while their skin tone and large moon-like growths on their foreheads. Oh, so it's... It looks like it's hovering. It doesn't look like a growth. Sailors have beliefs that propensity to bring good luck. When reduced, waves of healing. That's cool. So as they get damaged, they give off a healing ability. But no hats for me. And then a nature godlike. A fusion of human and animal features. Grants a bonus to might, constitution, and dexterity when endurance is below 50. I'm gonna go with either nature or moon. Let's go with nature. Let's be a nature godlike. Alright, so body type. Oh, that's cool. So you can be a godlike of any size. So if you want to be huge or tiny, you can do that. That's neat. I'm gonna be human. Because I guess your original stock is one of these. Yeah, I'll go with human. You know I'm gonna be a cipher. Okay, let's look at my powers. So I get what, 2 of these? Yeah, I get to pick 2. So Antipathetic Field. Cool, you just cast it on yourself and you don't have to be pathetic anymore. Creates a toxic physical manifestation, the mutual antipathy between the cipher and the enemy target. So if you don't like someone, it creates a physical manifestation of that, and anyone caught in the path between the two causes damage. So it's like a line of effect. And it's corrosive damage. And these gives me the damage types. Okay, so it's a beam effect. Eye Strike is dazing and blinding them and nearby targets. Okay. Mind Wave. Concussive blast, suffering raw damage from the trauma. In a conical area, get knocked down. Okay. Soul Shock. Outer shell of an allied. Okay, so this you'd cast this on a tank who's surrounded. That's cool. Tenuous Grasp assails the target's grasp of morality, so fright and confusion. And Whisper of Treason, so charm. Now, I'm trained by many old RPGs to believe that charm effects almost never work, so I might not take that one. I'm thinking Soul Shock sounds cool, and then hitting a tank with that seems cool. And Eye Strike seems kind of cool, blind and dazed. So that's kind of neat too. These both seem like good options. I'm not sure if they're the best options, but that's okay. These both sound good to me. Also, I get Soul Whip, which is my weapons generate a field of parasitic energy that increase damage inflicted and generate focus for me. Okay. Sure, Eye Strike, Soul Shock, and jam people in the eyes. I assume I can get these powers, more of these powers later. Okay, so my attributes. I've got 15 points. I can put them in all of this stuff. Now, it doesn't give me an idea. I assume, again, God, this is the thing. So, I assume everything in this game, just like every other role-playing game I've ever played, that unless you tell me differently, it's just like Dungeons and Dragons. So, I have 15 points to spend on these stats. I assume they go between, on average, 11 or 10 and 11, or up to like 18 or 19 or 20, right? Like this is the average that I can go up or down from here. So let's just max out my intellect, I guess, because it's my best stat. Seems like a smart thing to do. Really terrible pun. I'm sorry. And then I guess I should just put an even amount of points into dexterity and might. Like it's not too agonizing a decision. I could look at what the different stats do, but I already know, like, max out the smallest stat and then just try to fill these ones in. Now, if the game doesn't want me to do that, if I shouldn't be doing this, there's no indication, right? All it's telling me is what it does. And it's hinting at me to do certain things. So I don't know, it's tricky. So let's, you know what, before we move on, let's take a look at the stats and see what they do. Alright, so might represents physical and spiritual strength, brute force, channel powerful magic. We talked about this before. In combat, it contributes both damage and healing. Recommended for Cypher. Plus 9% damage and healing, plus 6 fortitude. And fortitude is physical resistance. It's contributed by might and constitution. So, I don't know, maybe a more even spread, maybe 15, 15, 17. Constitution, I mean, I'm going to have to stay back, I assume, anyway. Yeah, overall health and stamina. I know what Constitution is. I've played Dungeons and Dragons before. Dexterity, abstraction of hand-eye coordination, balance, and grace. So normal stuff. This is going to improve my speed and my reflexes. Okay. Reflex is a dodge stat. 15% action speed. I'm not sure what that is about, but again, the game's not telling me. Perception represents my senses as well as instinctive ability to pick up on details. The other thing you notice, these are only telling me combat stuff. Here we go. So perception does say I can catch someone in a lie, make an observant comment about their appearance. I kind of like the idea of having perception. I mean, I want all my stats to be high. Good for mental intimidation and leadership. It's really tough, right? And I guess I can lower, yeah, so I can lower some of these stats to raise other ones. Yeah. So, I guess having just the 3 stats high, I've balanced out might and dexterity, got intellect at 17. Let's go with this. There isn't really, like, I can agonize over every detail, but I'm not about that. I just want to get into the game. Okay. So now I can pick my culture. Now, this is cool, but also weird that it does this after after stats, because it just goes back and modifies your stat spread. So culture. This is something that I think is really cool because races are not monocultural. It's like you if you're an elf, you're not just an elf that's the same as every other elf. And in fantasy games, this often gets overlooked by rolling race into making race a single indicator, right? That you're not a bunch of stuff. You're just an elf. I don't care where you're from. I don't care where you grew up or anything else about you. You're an elf. All elves are the same. But in this, the game has split race and culture, and this I think is the first game that I've seen that does this. That splits those two and says, okay, you're an elf, but if you're an elf from one of these places, you're going to be different from one that's from another place. So these are the countries or areas, the cultures that we saw before, and let me take a look through them. So we know I'm a nature godlike, I'm a cipher, and I'm going to be from, let's see, so Adir Empire is the large main empire around the equator with a tropical climate, majority of human and elven nations, that's fine. Okay. The Dead Fire Archipelago. Oh, so it's changing my appearance too. So that's going to give me some hints about my character. I wonder if it modifies my starting gear. Okay, so Adir is like the flat baseline, like, that's it. Okay. Dead Fire Archipelago, the nation of Anasthok, dozens of Almawa. So these are like a bunch of islands with pirates, boreal dwarves, which I assume mean like forest. Yeah, it's forest dwarves. Almawa, mixed variety of other races. The last stop for anyone headed east. So this is the last place before monsters. The Ixamital Plains. Fertile savannas farmed by humans and Orlan. One of the oldest cultures, one of the least imperialistic, spread out very little. And they get cool quilted armor. Olvalia, double poking implements, though they look like rebar and not swords. Once the crown jewel of the southern seas, Old Valia is now the crumbled remnants of an empire of warring merchant nations. So, fallen Rome. Bonus to intellect, so that's cool. That brings me up to 19. Rawatai. The Rawatai Gulf. So another kind of storm-racked area. The Living Lands, a mountainous region of the northern island, known for its diversity of plant and animal life. That's kind of cool. So from the Living Lands, it makes sense to be like a nature... This would be a lore decision. Yeah, to be a nature godlike. It could come from there. And then the White That Wins, large cracked southern expanse of polar ice. Got a bonus to perception. So I can either use this to slightly nudge up my my stats, right, to fill in a space. But also, I assume it gives me bonuses depending on where I'm from in-game dialogue options based on culture. So, I kind of like. I'm gonna go maybe with Living Lands or The White That Wends or Old Valia. I'm thinking probably Living Lands. Bonus to might make me strong. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Living Lands. Okay. Oh, and I get a background too. Cool. So that gives you a bonus to skills. So if I'm from the Living Lands, this is a really in-depth character creation. I like it. Okay, so I get to come in and pick a background. I can be a colonist, an explorer, and I'm noticing these don't look like they're specific to the Living Lands. I think I might just get all of these. There might be a few that are beneficial, like available to other races or cultures, but for me, this is what I get. Explorer, laborer, that's boring, merchant, drifter. Kind of makes sense. Never quite fit no matter where you go. Each new town is a place to rest briefly. And hunter, mercenary, and scientist. Okay, well that's interesting. So I think I'm gonna go with drifter. I mean, stealth and survival, that's fine, but this feels like yeah, this feels like a thing. Yeah, so I do get different background choices. Cool. Well, it feels like a thing for my character, so I'm gonna be a drifter. Okay. Excuse me. Alright, so I have two colors, primary and secondary. Obviously, I'm going to go with black and gray. Because, have you met me? White pants? No, I'm going to go with dark gray pants. Yeah. I'm a High Plains drifter. Be a random scientist. Oh, that's a shame. So I only get 3 different choices. That's... So I get to pick a head. I get either bull horns and a mohawk. I get pointy up horns and like side horns. Or I get swept back horns. Well, I don't like these ones. I think I'm going to go with the pointy up horns. Weird. Those are my only choices. Alright. And I get to pick a portrait. Portraits are... These are interesting because I get... Like, okay. That's cute. Maybe I'll just go with that one. Doesn't really look like me, but it's adorable. I get why they do portraits like that. You know, because it's a throwback to Baldur's Gate and everything, but it also makes picking a portrait that actually looks like your character quite difficult. But I think I'm going to go with this one. I like the colors. She looks cool. It's not a huge deal anyway. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna chill out on talking for a second. We can pick from these voices. Let's listen to all of them. So.
Yes.
I shall lead us. Let us end this.
Quickly and quietly.
Eh? I've got this.
Quickly and quietly.
I'm here, leading the way.
The better part of valor.
Yes? Follow me. Take him down.
Nice and slow, huh?
Now I am leader of the group. They won't see me coming. Well, now I am leader of the group. They won't see me coming.
Okay, I think I'm gonna go with feisty.
I've got this.
Yeah, feisty. Alright, and I gotta make up a name. Now, I always like when they give you options to click, like, the names. But I don't know. So I'm gonna I'm gonna have to make something up. Let's come up with a name for my character. I want something, maybe something that I am really tempted to call her Mentok Mind Taker, but let me look up. I'm gonna look up some plants names in Latin, and maybe I'll find something good. So I actually have something in mind. So here. Yeah. I'm gonna call her a Dianea. And Dianea is the first half of the Dianea is the first half of the Latin name for the Venus flytrap. I mean, it would be really cool to name her just like also a plant name, but I want her to be like a little aloof and cool. There's lots of like cute plant names to call her, but she's not a halfling, so I'm calling her Dianea. Okay. Caravan Master Odema. Right, so I've completely forgotten. We stopped because I'm sick, I think. The Caravan Master finishes addressing the group, his bushy red mustache and sagging jowls quivering as if for emphasis.
Everybody stays close to the wagons, got it? Stay out of the woods, and beasts take you if you were planning a stroll through those ruins up there.
He nods toward a looming black mass on the hillside. Looming black mass, yeah, I'm gonna stay the fuck away from there.
Whole area's crawling with hut-dwelling types who would be happy to stick an axe in you for trespassing. So mind that you don't track mud on their sacred blazing rocks.
Oh, hut-dwelling types. You're an asshole, Odema.
Tonight, everybody stays put, and in the morning we'll get the path cleared. Gilded Vale's less than a day out. Understood?
At last, the Caravan Master turns to you, frowning as he looks you over.
Touch of the rumbling rot, could be. There's a stinging beetle round here, carries it. You'll be fine once it passes your innards. Unless you don't drink water, of course. In which case you'll be dead in a day.
Well, okay, I can go to my inventory and drink all my water.
There's a berry grows in these parts, small and pink, called a springberry, about the size of a fingernail. Give you cramps if you eat it, but the frontiersmen make a tea from it. Calms the insides. Should get you through the night. You might check around, see if you can find some. Meanwhile, I'll see if we can scare you up some water.
I like that. You're sick? Well, you better go look for some berries, sick guy.
I know you want to hunt before it gets much darker, but see about refilling our water first. Got a sick one here.
He nods in your direction. Sparfle nods and slides the worn bow over his shoulder. Sparfle!
They grow on a bush that's common round here, kind of funny looking. You'll know it when you see it. Doubt you'd have to go far off the road to find one.
Tea is made of water, you idiot. What are those ruins?
Nothing you won't see on half the hills of Air Glonfoth. Money to be made selling their knickknacks in Defiance Bay, if you don't mind getting stuck with Glonfoth and arrows now and again. They didn't build them, but I'll be the effigy if they don't watch them like a mother bear.
This guy's delivery is so monotone. So like, da 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 ba da ba.
Of course, all the ones around here have been ransacked 10 times over. Got nothing left worth half a pawn, so I hear.
He adds with a wink. Alright. Your character's attributes, skills, class, race, culture, and sex may all open options for you in dialogue. The options are not necessarily superior to the responses to give you a wider variety to choose from. The manner in which someone responds to your choices depends on their individual personality and attitude. Good to know. Alright, so I'm assembling some quests in my mind. I can go dick around in the ruins, and I gotta go get some berries to make myself less sick.
Got different names for them. Settlers called them Ingwithans.
Ingwithans?
Nobody that liked them enough to stop them becoming ruins, tell you that much.
Yeah, Ingwithan ruins. Yeah, we were talking about those before in character creation.
Not if you hurry about your business, and not if the weather holds up.
There is concern in his tone, but he does not elaborate. What kind of weather do they get out here?
This time of year, rain mostly, and wind. But there's a different kind of wind out here time to time. Locals call it a beawick, born out of the ether, the spirit's path. Never seen it myself.
Ooh, spirit wind.
Never cared to.
What are those huge rocks coming out of the ground?
They don't got Adra where you come from? Well, it just grows up out of the ground like this.
These are those green rocks.
Roots. Some of it all the way to the heart of the world, you believe the stories.
Okay.
It's more like a shell than a proper rock. Easier to work if you're a mason. Got all kinds of strange properties. Seems to have some kind of life of its own. Dies if it gets dug up. Loses its luster. Folks think it probably grew at one point or another, but not these days.
It grew at one point or another. Okay.
Soul
all right.
butchers in Defiance Bay use it for different things.
Soul
I've
butchers.
heard tell it can hold a man's soul, but I don't care to see it. Got enough to worry about without seeing something like that.
Oh.
Hold on. Take someone with you. I know you're not some helpless tenderfoot, not like most of this lot. But you drop dead, I don't want to be looking for the body. Got a schedule to keep.
Okay, okay. He scans over the travelers, resting his eyes at length on a sturdy, armor-clad woman who spent the journey's night sleeping on uneven ground with a blanket or pillow. Oh, a badass
Kaliesha.
lady.
Kaliesha!
Kaliesha. The woman looks up on her own time. Wait, I don't get a voice for this one? She needs to find some springberries. Watch sure she doesn't drop dead.
No promises.
Oh, girl. Yeah, Kaliesha.
What kind of guide says something like that?
Mask and jacket, thank you for the subscription.
Kind you can afford.
Yeah, I like this Kaliesha.
Don't listen to her. You're in good hands. And I pay too well, if anything. Off with you. Hayden should have supplies. See that you're equipped before you head out. We're in harsh country. Get your berries and hurry back. And if you get so much as a tickle of wind, you drop everything and you run. Something in the air tonight.
Get your
To be a wick, we'll shelter in the ruins. Hut dwellers be damned.
Well, get your berries and get out of here. And then also, I cannot help but think he can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord. So I better not try to drown. Alright, so I have a moment's respite here to collect some springberries. It's telling me about my characters. So it always consists of you and up to 5 additional adventurers. While the caravan is camped outside the Glenfathan ruins, Edema has assigned Kaliesha to help you. She's a fighter. Perfect. Use her abilities to complement your own. To select a party member, click on their selection circle, their portrait, or press the number button that corresponds to the party. Okay. I've played Baldur's Gate before. I think this is the same. And selected characters, click anywhere on the screen where your cursor is to 4 wedges. Individual hidden. Okay, great. So here is Kaliesha. She's able to knock down. She has weapon sets. She's got a torch, a battle axe. She's got a punch and another punch. And then I guess that's a
What you need?
talk to Kaliesha. Okay, that's a thing I can do. All right, and then there's me.
Eh?
I got my cipher spells. I got my bow. This is my character sheet. Kaliesha is a meadowfolk explorer, and I am a drifter, nature godlike. Oh, that's cool. It keeps track of the party and the personal records. I've been in the party 14 seconds. So, the first thing that one does, as soon as the game starts, the most important thing to do, save your game. So this is a nice touch, and also like an obvious throwback. That's cool, I can zoom in and out a little bit. The cursor, right? Having the cursor be the 4 wedges, that instantly gets you right back to that Icewind Dale, Baldur's Gate vibe. The fact that I mean, the controls work exactly the same, right? I can rotate my party. I can choose what selection, how my party is stacked.
You heard the man. Let's get going before you keel over.
Yeah, and so the stats more or less work.
Got it.
Everything more or less works the same as it does in Baldur's Gate. So I'm out looking for berries. Let's go find some berries with my good new friend Kaliesha.
Stay quiet.
Oh, scouting mode. Everybody stay quiet. Shh. We're hunting for berries. Finding hidden containers and objects like traps while scouting, your character's circles will start to fill with yellow. Your character is suspicious and will move to investigate when it turns red. If it becomes fully red, your character will be discovered. Character's ability to find hidden objects based on mechanics skill. Moving towards the character accelerates how quickly they detect you. If you actually touch their circle, immediately you will be detected. I'm not sure why we went into scouting mode. Maybe so these horses wouldn't notice us. Okay, I don't want to be in scouting mode.
My eyes are peeled.
Interesting. Alright. Oh, there's a thing over here. Oh, this must be the fallen tree trunk.
Not looking forward to trying to lift that thing tomorrow.
Me neither. Fast mode, okay, cool. So you can have the characters all run around.
Anyone need supplies? I've got sundries for sale.
Oh, sundries, Heodan. Most people you encounter in the world are neutral or friendly. Oh man, God. Wouldn't that be nice? You can interact with them by clicking on their selection circle. Many characters will simply greet you and go on their way. Others have a larger conversation to explore. The merchant, Heodan, has a conversation that opens a store with equipment for sale. Mostly neat clothes, transfixed by a ragged tear in the seam of his tunic. Oh, Heodan, your tunic.
A whole wagon full of goods to sell, but not enough shirts for the road.
He scratches one cheek with his knuckles. It's covered with uneven stubble, as if he hasn't quite gotten used to shaving on the road.
Say, is there anything you need? I've got some basic traveling supplies for sale if you'd like to take a look.
Who are
I'm a
you?
trader, originally from the Adir Empire. I've
Adir.
been trying to establish new business out here. Life on the road has brought some unexpected challenges, to be sure. And I'm sure you've noticed how prickly the locals can be. But we're here to make the most of things.
Those
right?
tribals. Here he is. Now I have some options about how I want to deliver things. So I can be cruel, I can be clever, or I can be passionate. Let's be passionate. I have a rank and a disposition reputation. No disposition is inherently good or bad. If your main character is a priest or paladin, don't misalign their dispositions with those favored by your deity and order. For the main character, dispositions will modify the effects of holy radiance. That's really cool. So the way that you
Something
are,
else you need?
for some classes,
Like we're settled for the night.
the way that the characters in this game interact with their personality affects them mechanically. That's really neat. I like that. Anything yet? No, I don't care about you, Hodor. Exploration is key. Look in the area map. Ooh, look, there's Heodan. Oh, look at all this stuff I can interact with. All these boxes. Alright, run, ladies, run. Who's this guy?
I'll have your water soon enough. Stream's not going anywhere.
Dick.
There's a grove nearby. Ought to have what you're looking for. There's a grove nearby.
There's a grove nearby. Yup, there's a grove. Check it out. Thanks.
Let's check by those.
Oh, monsters. Pause the game. Issue orders. Play it like it's Baldur's Gate.
It's outcroppings.
Alright. It's my first fight, everybody. Here we go.
Yeah.
Fighting the young wolf. Let's freaking use my spells on it. Alright, all characters in the game have 4 primary defenses. Deflection, Fortitude, Reflex, and Will. Armor class, saving throws. These defenses are based on attributes, levels, item, and a bunch of other crap. If accuracy is below, you suffer a penalty. If accuracy is above, you get crits more often. Okay, alright. All attacks do damage, hit their damage reduction, so you have to... excuse me. You have to bypass their armor, whatever their armor is, and then overcome their damage reduction. Okay. Sometimes a weapon or spell isn't suited to penetrate an enemy's thing. When it's the DR will wipe out all of the hit. Oh my god. A small percentage of damage. You hear the characters complain. Oh, that's cool. Alright, that's good. We get feedback from the characters. Aha! I scored a crit. Good job, Kaliesha. Did I hit him with my spell? Yeah, blinded him. Alright, well, let's kill this blind wolf. Dead. Well, alright. That was easy. Diana deactivates Soul Whip. Yep, that's probably good. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and save. Because, hey. Wow, look at the game saving for me. How kind. And I also want to change the scroll speed. Because I noticed it's really slow. Screen edge scrolling. Scroll speed, it's double that. There we go. Okay. So you'll notice that the little mailed hand with the ring icon, same as Baldur's Gate.
Sure.
Alright. Loot this thing? Yeah. Oh, wolf hide. Did I get it? Yeah, I did. Okay. Excellent. Cool. So I've looted some wolves. That felt good. Or a wolf.
This is it.
As you receive quests, your journal will update with relevant information. Okay. Oh, okay. So she's talking to me. I'm getting something, Drifter here. I'm getting something because of that. I like that the game calls it out. That's really interesting. Alright. So, you're kind of a mystery to the rest of the caravan, some kind of wanderer the way I hear it. Sure, I wandered into the lives of fools, talked about their money, and wandered back out. You have to be when people are looking for you, or that sort of thing happens with orphans. This is a perfect example of if the game was being run by a GM, this would be like a leading question in Dungeon World, where you're like, okay, why are you wandering? Not, are you a wanderer? The game has led me into either I can tell them, like, get out of here, or I can say, this is my background. I can elaborate on the game that way. Okay, so I'm going to say you have to be when people are looking for you. Yeah? How's it you happen to come here? They think I have something that belongs to them, or I cross dangerous people. Yeah, I'm going to cross some dangerous people. Do what you can to survive. What can someone be expected to do? Been a long time since I've been this way, but I always did like it. Lord Raedric's offer makes a girl think. I'll give him that. You here to settle like the rest of the lot? It's a hard offer to pass up. You won't find many offers like it in these parts, believe me. Got some big plan in store? I'm gonna lay low here a while. Try not to draw too much attention to myself. You picked the right place then. Gilded Vale's days away from any real civilization. Anyway, I'm wasting time. Odima will give me an earful. Let's be on our way. No. Here by the berry tree. Let us talk. Tell me more about yourself. Simple needs. I like open skies and far horizons. Finds work that let me live that way. Family's wanderers, too. Interesting. Okay. Started in Deerwood. So she's just like wandering around. She's got a sister in Gilded Vale. This used to be part of the 80-year Empire. I'm aware. The game told me earlier. People having trouble giving birth. A lot of them. Going on for years now. I have to ask my sister more about it. Okay. We should check on Sparfle. He's a dick and we need to slap him around. Okay. Let's go find Sparfle and give that guy some shit. Well, here's the river, which I think is where he was supposed to go. I bet you he's wandered off into the ruins. Oh dear, what's this about? That's some armor, okay. And a lockpick. Just looting some bodies. A dark crusted bloodstain besmirches its simple linen clothing. Well, that's heavy. Alright, besmirches. I don't think I've ever heard of a piece of clothing being besmirched in that way. Huh. Alright, well, cool. I've got in my first fight. I've got a character. I'm actually playing the game. I'm going to save real quick, and I'm going to go and take my first 3-minute break and grab some more water. So, stick around, and I will be back in just a few after a short commercial with more Pillars of Eternity.